So, we are in a new series called Faces, and this series is all about identity. And the reason why I want us to talk about identity is because too often I feel as though we're trying to be somebody else, when ultimately, God loves us exactly for who we are. Exactly for who we are. He doesn't ask us, hey, I'll love you when you're more like. He doesn't say, I'll accept you when you do. He actually just opens his arms and says, come, as you are. And I love that about God. Here's the problem. I have so many people in my life, and you have so many people in your life, that's telling you things about who you are that we've begun to believe it. That's a problem. Because many times when we hear outside voices, we begin to believe them, and that impacts our life. Because we're so focused on who we are, we lose track of who God is in our life. You see, the real question is not, who am I? You see, that's the wrong question. We need to get to the real question. The real question is, who is Christ? The real question is not, what can I do? The real question is, what has Christ done? When we come back to that reality of who is God and what has he done already for me, we'll actually discover who we are. Here's a reality for you and for me. This is my reality. Okay, this is my reality right here. I have believed for the majority of my life, hey, you guys in the back, if you guys, yes, I'm talking to you. If you guys can go ahead and, that'd be great. Okay, so, here's reality, my reality. When I was in middle school and high school, I got picked on a lot. I got picked on so much, and I was this really short, thin, wimpy kid that was quiet. I know I'm like this really tall, buff guy now, but I was really, really thin. Still am. And I got picked on a lot. In fact, I had people basically push me around and force me to do their homework. Otherwise, I would get beat up. I know you see those things just in movies and, the diary. What's that? There you go. Okay, everyone knows it but me. But yeah, seriously, that was my reality. There was one time where I was helping a girl. She was very popular in the school, and I was helping her with her homework, specifically with math. It was during lunch. It was just the two of us, and there was nothing there, you know what I mean? But I was just helping her. And then all the popular guys came around and started making fun of me, saying, why are you trying to do that? And, saying some really inappropriate things. And it really made me uncomfortable, and then they saw that I was good at math, and so they forced me. And I decided I wasn't going to do that anymore. So what happened, kind of pushed me around, made fun of me, got some rumors started and so forth. Wasn't too cool for me. Really didn't like middle school. Didn't really like high school. You got to remember, I grew up not knowing who God was. So all I had was what the world would tell me. Whatever my family would tell me. Whatever I believed about myself, that's what I believed about myself. I had no truth of what God says about me. I had just what others said about me. And what did others say? That I'm worthless. That I'm insignificant. That I can be bullied. Can someone do me a quick favor and just close those two back doors? That would be fantastic. Thanks, Josh. I have a few verses that I would love for us to go and look at. So if you guys have your Bibles, go ahead and open up to the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verse 8. Galatians 5:8. We're just only going to be on this for a few seconds. This is what it says. We have it up on the screen if you guys didn't bring it, okay? That's what it says. It says, be self-controlled and alert. I think we have it up on the screen. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. You see, we are in a battle. Each and every one of us face a battle when we wake up in the morning. We're going to be told lies, and we're going to be told truths. The question is, which one are you going to listen to? Which ones are you going to believe? You see, Satan is actually prowling around like a lion, looking to devour you, looking to consume you. We talked about last week about how we're actually slaves to sin if we do not know who God is, if we have not entered him into our heart. If we haven't accepted Jesus, we're actually slaves to sin. And Satan loves that. He's going to prowl, he's going to say something, and he's going to devour you. He's going to make you feel like junk. He's going to make you feel like trash. He's going to get people around you that look great from the outside, but in reality, they are destroying you on the inside and making your self-esteem feel awful. Have you guys heard of the phrase, not the phrase, but have you guys heard of self-identity? Self-identity. You guys know what self-identity is? What is it? Heard of it. Don't know what it is. Okay. Self-identity. Here it is. Self-identity, the way you see yourself. The way you see yourself. When you guys look in the mirror, what people say about you, self-identity, the way you see yourself, is determined by what you base your identity on. Now that's a problem. The way that we see ourselves is based on how we see ourselves. Our self-identity is based on what other people are telling us and what we're believing about ourselves. And so we base it like this, okay? Let me give you an example. Our looks. So I am uncomfortable with my receding hairline. I'm 29 years old, not 30. My wife is. I'm 29. I still love you, babe. But why do I wear a beanie? I'm like self-conscious. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take off my beanie. Oh, I know. You guys didn't even know I had hair, did you? I've worn it for like the last 8 weeks or something. I like sleep with it sometimes, but not really. But here's the thing. Like, I don't like the way that I look. If I base my identity on that, though, it's a problem, is it? Because I can walk through life and not even liking who I am if I'm basing it on what I look like. And I've gotten to the point where my reality is actually who Christ is and what he's done for me. I am beautiful. I am beautiful. And you know what? I believe it. Sometimes. Is that, I don't want to tell you guys a lie. Like saying, hey, you know what? I feel beautiful all the time. That would be a lie. Because you know what? I'm still human, right? We look in the mirror, we see our hair everywhere, like, man, I can't do anything without my makeup. Okay, like whatever it is, guys, I know you do that all the time, right? But there's another verse I want to share with you guys that I think is really important for us to look at. So it's not just looks, though. Like, look at this. Like, you base your identity on your popularity at school. Oh man, I'm great right now. Life's good because I've got all these friends, doing all these sports. Well, what happens when you graduate? What then? What happens if you base your identity on your job and then somehow, you get laid off? What happens if you base your identity on what car you drive? High school students. What happens if you base your identity on your job and then you get fired or you get a promotion or you have to move? What happens if you base your identity on your clothes? Always trying to get the next brand or the next thing that's out, because there's always going to be a next. And what happens when that goes out of style? It'll come back in 40 years. Jacqueline, yeah, right? So Matthew 7, go ahead and turn to Matthew 7, verse 15. I'm going to be here for a little bit, okay? I'm going to share a story with you guys after that. Matthew 7, verse 15. Watch out for false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, kind of like a friend, okay? They come to you in sheep's clothing. But inwardly, they are ferocious wolves. By their fruit, you will recognize them. Do people pick grapes from thorn bushes or fig from thistles? Likewise, every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Thus, by their fruit, you will recognize them. You see, I talked to you guys a little bit about the prowling lion. And you have wolves in your life. You guys have friends that are dressed like sheep, kind on the outside. You guys are buddy-buddy. You look up to them. They'll tell you things. But inwardly, you know better. Because they get in quarrels with you. You guys get in fights. They speak negatively about you. They talk behind your back. They let you down. They say negative things about you that just aren't true. And when I was talking about fruit there, when we're talking about fruit, these are Jesus' words. You know, he's not like, consumed with eating apples and bananas. He's not like loving fruit here. He's using it as an analogy. He's saying, like, literally, if you are a good tree, you will produce good fruit. Okay? So inwardly, if you have that right spirit, you will produce kind words. But if you are on the inside this wolf that's just tearing people down, your fruit, the stuff that you're giving people, yeah, it's bad. And my question right now is for high school, middle school students, like, are you giving people good fruit? Or are you giving stuff that's just going to poison them? Words that are going to tear them down? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but Jesus tells us to lift others up and to love on each other as he has loved us. Okay? So if we base our identity on school, we'll eventually graduate. You know, it's like, how many of you have ever done like a deck of cards before? Like trying to stack up a house, okay? Really? You guys have much better lives than me. So I would, when I was bored, I would like stack cards and someone would shake the table or I would breathe and, things would go everywhere. Well, Jesus talks about this same thing, the same principle in the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 24. Just a few verses later, take a look. He uses the analogy with sand, though, and rocks and on your house, okay? Take a look at this. It says, therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine hears the words of Jesus, okay? And puts them into practice, you're actually doing what he says, is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash. My question to you is this: are you building your house on sand or on a rock? You guys have heard that Jesus is our rock. You guys have heard that before. But my question to you is that a reality for you in your life? Or are you literally listening to the wolves, putting that into practice, saying, my identity is going to be based on what other people tell me. My identity is just going to be based on whatever I'm doing or however much people pat me on the back or say good things about me. But what happens when people say bad things about you and you're not feeling so good and you're sick and all those bad things are happening? What happens then? You see, it becomes a little roller coaster in our life. But if we base our identity on two questions, Who is Christ, and what has he done for me? You'll still have a life that's kind of like this, but you won't crash. Because the wind and the waves will continue to come in both of those examples. Whether your house is built on sand or whether your house is built on the rock, the wind and the waves will come, friends. My question is, what is your house built on? What are you putting your identity in? And for me, for a lot of my life, my house was on sand. And that's why for many of you, I've already shared, like during high school after my dad passed away, I had many suicidal like thoughts. I didn't attempt anything, but I was just thinking, you know what? Life would just be better if I wasn't here. Jesus would never say that to you. Jesus would never say that to you. Who are you listening to? Who are you listening to? I was putting my identity also within basketball. How many of you love basketball? Okay, I'm a huge basketball fanatic. Blazers are doing pretty good this year, right? Pretty cool. Okay. Too bad that I'm a Laker fan. And they suck this year. But you know what? Yeah, I know. So here's the thing. When I was in high school, I wanted so badly. I thought, man, if I could be on the varsity basketball team, I would have the greatest friends. If I was on the varsity basketball team, man, my grades would be great. I could really do whatever I wanted. I could have any girl that I wanted. I could just live that life. You know, that life that you see on TV and all these things, like if you live to this standard, well, then all those things come with it. That's what I thought. So what did I do? My life became consumed with basketball in high school. I practiced and I practiced and I practiced, and I became pretty good. I became pretty good from the three. I became pretty good at the lanes and the dribbling and the picking and running. I can run like crazy and do all of those things from baseline to baseline. I'm just great. I always practiced at Truman Elementary. Anyone know where that is? Okay, doesn't matter. I was practicing at Truman Elementary. It's an outside court, and I was just shooting. When two kids came up to me, and they were in middle school or elementary, couldn't really tell, and they said, "Hey, can you dunk?" Now, I could not dunk at that point in my life. But do you really want to like say no? Especially when you've been practicing for so long. So I was like, psst, yeah. I didn't think they would actually ask me to do it, but they're like, do it, show me. Dang it. I was like, okay. So, I was like, all right, I got to Michael Jordan this thing, And so I was like, I just got to do this. So I was dribbling, I was getting ready. I was going up there. I went up, and I dunked it. For the first time in my life, I was able to dunk a basketball when the pressure was up. Thank you, front row. So I was ready to go, right? I came down, and I was all proud of myself. I was like, man, I have reached this, my identity. Like, I'm just right there. They're going to think I'm so cool. Word's going to spread. I'm all that. Look at this guy. The white man can jump. Okay? Here's the thing, though. I came down, and they were like, I was like, I know. And they're like, no, look. And so I look, and my finger had gotten caught in the rim. I came down with all the momentum and gravity. And I was coming down, and my finger had torn in two. Right? So it was still attached, but barely. Blood was going everywhere, and I couldn't feel anything because I was just so excited, right? Like I had dunked it. I later found out that it was a little lower than regulation. But but I had dunked it, right? And I was like, you know that feeling like as soon as you see the blood, then you feel the pain? That's kind of what happened. Like, it's not supposed to look like that. And so I grab a sweatshirt, I wrap this finger, okay, in my sweatshirt. I run to my aunt's house. She drives me to the hospital, and I end up getting like 14 stitches. I still have no feeling in that finger. Here's the reason I tell you that story, okay? Not to impress you with my jumping skills, but to let you know that when you put your hope in other people, when you try to impress other people so you then can feel better about yourself, you will get hit hard. Pain will come. You will not be at this level that you're always promised. There may be times where, you know what, I can dunk it. Maybe the finger thing didn't happen. Maybe word spread all throughout Clark County, drafted, all those things. Not really. My hope was there, but that's really not enough. Because I was trying to base my identity on something that's not really significant at all. What are you basing your identity on? What are you trying to achieve just to impress some people that you barely know? Or maybe you've known them for your whole life. Doesn't matter. The real question is, who is Christ? And what has he done for you already? That's who you are. I'm going to invite Sean up. We're going to have an opportunity to do something that we haven't done before. It's something that I've seen numerous times. It's an opportunity for some students to share a little bit about what they've believed, those wolves in their life, what they've believed about themselves. So for those of you that are going to be participating in this, I'm going to ask that you go ahead and head on over there. Go ahead and grab your board, and I'll let you know when you're going to come up, okay? So everybody that's participating in that, go ahead and head on up. Sit on over there for me. I want to tell you guys a few things here. Listen up real quick, okay? You are, if you have accepted Jesus into your heart, you are a child of God. If you have accepted Jesus into your heart, you have the Holy Spirit living in you. I do not want you to forget of who you are. When you leave this place tonight, do not think that you have to live to the standard of, I have to get all A's to impress my parents. Maybe. But do not allow that to be your identity, because it will ruin you. Do not live up to the standard of, I have to get gold. I have to win this game. I have to get to level 17 of Flappy Birds. It's not going to give you the true identity. You will find no long-term pleasure in those things. For those of you that are getting your license soon, or have your license, or have a car, do not base your identity on what car you drive. Do not base your identity on the things you can do and can't do. Do not base your identity on what college you end up going to. Do not base your identity on who your friends are. Do not base your identity on what sports you're involved in and how good you are, or what place you come in for any event. Whether you're first or last at a track meet, you are still loved by God the same amount. Here's what we need to do, though. We need to give our everything for Him. We need to give our everything. I want to show you what these guys are going to do right now for us. I told you guys that I tried impressing a lot of people, right? This is who I was. I was a people pleaser. But when I found God, I found my identity in pleasing God. Each of these students here I've asked to share a little bit about the lies that they've believed. They're going to come right here, one by one. They're going to show you the lie for about 3-5 seconds, something like that. And they're going to flip it to the truth. They're going to hold it there for a few seconds. They're going to walk over to this side of the stage and just gather there together. If one of these testimonies, one of these cardboard testimonies stand out to you and you can relate with them, thank them, encourage them by applause. Cheer for them. Let's encourage these people as they're about to share. I'm glad you guys are here, but I do not want you to leave tonight without knowing who you are. Each and every one of these students has a story, and they have just shared their heart with you. Can you guys flip it to the lie? Faker. Not confident. Say it. Confident. I can't read. Faker. Not confident. Not good enough. Worthless. Insecure. Failure. Brokenhearted. Brokenhearted. These are truths that they have believed at one point in their life. They have listened to somebody within their life. They have heard, whether it's from a father, a mother, a friend, a brother, a sister, a teacher. We hear these lies within our life almost every single day. But that's not who these people are. I can read. I just can't read that word sometimes. Let's go and turn it to the truths. This is what God has spoken to each and every one of them. Confident in God. Family and friends love me for who I am. Is that right? Did I read that right? God loves me how I am. Yes, He does. Worthy. Secure in Him. Loved. healed. Yeah. You're loved. These are your truths. Now, my bet is that for each and every one of us, these words right here are difficult to believe. These are difficult things to believe within our life. Why? Because we have been told the lie too much. We have been told the lie too often in our life that's become our truth. But let me reassure you, that is true. You are worthy, Freddie. You are healed. And you are loved. Each and every one of you, these are your truths. Can we give them a round of applause, you guys? You guys can head on back down. You can take it with you. Right now, we're going to have an opportunity to worship our God. The true identity of who we are. It is in Him that we find purpose. It is in Him that we find love. And I'm going to ask that we worship God with all of our heart, because it is in Him that we are saved. Worship God with me tonight.
The life you gave, your body was broken, love put out. You bled and died for me there on the